or social action. There's no possible debate about that. So I agree with my previous speakers almost on everything they've said. However, I would like to speak about strategies today. I'm part of the March 30 movement and the Hind Rajab Foundation, and we have been doing, among others, some legal action, also grassroots mobilization. And a colleague of mine, Harun Raza, spoke earlier today in the legal panel. So I will not discuss the legal panel, but I will speak about, I will not discuss legal activities, but I will speak in general about the strategies and in the level of, success or efficiency that might entail. Let me start by saying that what happened, or everything we have been organizing or preaching before the genocide in Gaza, should be reviewed. And I'm talking here from a global perspective. I think this is true not only for the pro-Palestinian movement. I think this is true for anybody who is organizing against oppression or against any form of discrimination or against any form of power abuse. So what happened, the genocide in Gaza is a marking point, is a threshold, is a point of no return for many of us. I don't want to speak about my personal experience, but let's say in 2019, I was out of the activist scene. I was just focusing on writing. And then after the genocide of Gaza, I realized that was an unforgivable sin in all senses of the word, and I should be back and commit myself. And I think many of us, including new generations, have had this, let's say, moment of clarity with that genocide, starting the 8th of October already. So I jump from this realization to the strategies itself. What to do is the main question in action. What to do? Was tun, they say in German. Lenin wrote a book about that, I think. And it's a question that has been debated on many levels on every other issue, in every political debate, in every political scene. And there is some ideas. I don't have answers, to be clear about that. I'm not here coming to claim that I will give you the answers what to do, no. But maybe I have some ideas about what not to do, and maybe some ideas of some things that might be working, but it's too early to judge whether they are the right path to continue upon, right? So let's start by what I believe we should not be doing when we're talking here specifically about the pro-Palestinian movement. I want to talk specifically about that. I don't want to preach on other issues. We should not seek unity among us. And this might sound counterintuitive, because seeking unity is something very intuitive. We should unite. We have been, especially people on the left, with a leftist tradition, and I consider myself one of them, we have been always schooled in order to seek unity, to unite. This led us always to clash among each other. Because when you seek unity in the movement, you seek authority in the movement. And when you seek unity in the movement, you believe that you have the right path, or somebody should have the right path. And then everybody who is not on that right path is on the wrong path. And if you are on the wrong path, then you are objectively serving the enemy. And then you are a bad guy. Then you should be fought somehow. And some people will come fast and start telling you how the internal battle is more important than the external battle. And they will start telling you about how we should first clean the house, and then we can just face the other or the enemy. Maybe it's true when you're talking resistance movements, maybe it's true in war, but it's not true in civil action. And we are all doing civil action. Here in Europe, definitely, we are doing civil action. So in civil action, this logic is destructive. Seeking unity is destructive. We should not unite. We should not unite. We should collaborate. We should be aware of each other. We should communicate. We should sometimes agree and disagree. But when we disagree, we should not bar each other. We should not say, oh, this guy, we don't want to talk to him. This guy is bad for the movement. No. Somebody who's saying that about somebody is the one who is bad for the movement. Those who are barring other people and having vetoes on people, these are the ones bad for the movement. Because we need everybody. We need those we agree with, and we need those who we disagree with. So this is one element that's very important. And it's important also from a tactical perspective. Not just, it's not a moral imperative. Let me be clear about that. It's not a moral imperative. It's not because it's not nice to do that. I don't care about nice and not nice. You know, I want to win. I want to win. When I say I mean the movement, we. You know, we have to be able of contributing to that struggle. So it's not about being nice or not. It's about contributing. So strategically, why is that bad? Because we cannot take the enemy head on. We cannot. You know, we cannot take them head on. And when I say the enemy, I mean every power or force that supports Israel. In the West, I'm talking as a citizen in this European Union, right? I'm talking here. I don't know about Latin America. I don't know about China or the Arab world. I'm Arab, but I don't live there, so I don't know. I know about here, in Europe, right? We cannot take here even, in America even less so, but even in Europe, we cannot take the enemy as one unit head on. It's too powerful financially to start. And to be clear, I'm not talking about some conspiracy theory about, I don't know, some Illuminati creatures behind the scenes or, no. I'm talking about groups that are diverse in their nature. They are not one group, they are diverse in their nature. Sometimes they also disagree among each other, but they have common interest with Israel. They have common interest in keeping Israel at place. So these powerful groups and entities are not something that we can take head on, right, as one unit. They're too powerful financially, economically, on media level, politically, and every other possible level. They're too powerful. But we can take them in what people call, when they're talking strategy, in the swarming strategy. What is swarming? In language, in English language, the swarm is when little insects, for example, ants, attack a snake. There's a very interesting video on YouTube, you can go look it up, of ants. If you put ant attack snake, you see small ants attacking a huge snake, very powerful cobra, I think. And they swarm it, that's swarming. Every ant, everybody attacks it, from behind, from in front, from everywhere. And then you see the snake starting to fall. It cannot handle that. So this strategy is related to the first strategy, not to seek unity because we cannot anyway. Even if we wanted to unite, we will not be able of uniting. We will fight anyway. It's impossible, it's the human nature. So don't seek unity. Don't waste your time on unity. Collaborate, accept difference, accept that there are different organizations, different groups, different ideology, and that we all want to do something for Palestine. And second, let's swarm together as different small units, but having a joint effort. So that's very important. I will add a third strategy, and this is subjective, of course. I don't say that everybody should be doing this, but this is something that I think should be done, at least by some of us. And that is where we cannot confront when it comes to organizations, when it comes to mobilization, we should maybe have the moral courage to start confronting on narrative. When it comes to narrative, I think there, more of us, every day more people are doing that, by the way, should start changing the vocabulary that we're using and adopting a vocabulary and taking it seriously and not caring whether the mainstream will consider us as pariahs or as people, untouchables, or whatever they can characterize people who are critical to the mainstream or to the status quo, right? Some of us have to start breaking what they consider in Europe normal when discussing what they call the Middle East question. Normal is, for example, to support a two-state solution. That's considered normal in Europe. In the United States, that's considered extremist, because you have to support only Israel. But in Europe, that's considered normal. Well, it's not normal. It's not normal to keep defending a two-state solutions when you know as a fact, then it's impossible because of what Israel done, even if you wanted it, even if you, for some absurd reason, thought that it's just, that it's correct, that it's decolonial, whatever terminology you want to use. You know, it's impossible. Israel made it impossible. It's a delusion. It's not a solution anymore. It's a delusion. The facts on the ground make it impossible. Israel is now seeking to expand its so-called territory, which is all occupied anyway, but let's follow the narrative even in order to deconstruct it a bit. So we have to not even talk about a solution at this stage. It's not up to us to discuss solutions. So why? I mean, it's not up to us as European citizens to talk about solutions for what's happening in Palestine. That's the Palestinians. The Palestinians decide what the solution is for them. Our duty is duty of solidarity, and not to say, oh yeah, I'm for this solution or I'm for that solution. So I'm also do not like much talk about one-state solution. I don't like, what's a solution? Define a solution to me. For somebody who's being massacred today, what is a solution for people in Gaza today who are being slaughtered? What is the solution? What is the definition of a solution? So any talk of a solution is, for me, I mean, not the way to go. That's an advice. I'm not saying this is the truth or that's the only way. As I said, go back to first principle. We shouldn't unite. We shouldn't think the same. I accept that. But that's how I see it. Second element is, another thing that's normal in Europe is to say that the resistance, the Palestinian resistance, but also the Lebanese resistance and any resistance are terrorists. Even more than that, that concept of terrorism, the concept itself of terrorism is considered normal. There are even terrorist lists here in the West, right? They put people on it, they put institutions on it. This is considered normal. We should reject that. We should denormalize that. Instead of being denormalized ourselves, we should denormalize that. We should point a finger and say, this is absurd. This is not normal. You cannot call people fighting for their survival terrorists no matter what they do on their ground. You know, under international law, that's one argument, but regardless, under, you know, canons of wrong and right, you know, regardless of any law, you know, because there's legal and there's legitimate, and legitimate is not always legal. And what's legal is not always legitimate. Israel is legal under international law. It's not legitimate. You know, it's not because it's legal, it's legitimate. I don't care about legal. I mean, I accept the use of legal avenues, but that's not the essence. So we should normalize resistance. Resistance is normal. We have logic on our side. We have instinct on our side. Every movie that you go watch in European cinemas today, I mean, every war movie or something, it's about some hero somewhere who's saying no against some oppressor, or some oppressor or some oppression, who's resisting, whether it's in Scotland or in Ireland and everywhere. Only it comes to Palestine, and all of a sudden, oh, that's a terrorist. You know, like we should consider him a terrorist. No, we should take that risk. It's risky. I know it's risky, but we should take that risk. That's what I said. What's before the genocide is not like what after it. You know, when you see people, what risk are we taking for God's sake? And I will end with this. You know, yes, we should take that risk. But what is the risk we're taking? We're European citizens. We're sitting here protected by a rule of law. Yeah, I know it's not perfect, but it's more perfect than elsewhere. Let's be honest about it. It's more perfect than in some countries in the Arab world, than in some countries in Asia. And it's more. There is something that protects us to a certain extent, right? At least from death, from torture, from limited imprisonment, right? It doesn't protect us 100%. So we shouldn't care about losing status. We shouldn't care. What's that? What's losing status when people are losing their lives? When more than 20,000 children are being slaughtered, where parents have to bury their children? What's me or you losing, you know, being invited again to a TV station or not being invited? I mean, last time I went to a TV station, they asked me about Hezbollah, and I said, it's ridiculous to call them terrorists. Your whole terrorist list are ridiculous. And I knew if I say that, maybe that will be the last time they will invite me. Doesn't matter. We don't live in that time anymore. We need to go and build these alternatives that will make that redundant. So I don't want to preach. That's not my goal. I think the two first things are more important strategically, not to seek unity, to accept diversity in the movement, and second, try to swarm and not to attack head on, except, and that's my personal opinion, you can take it or leave it, that's fine with me, but my personal opinion, except when it comes to narrative, talking, you know, which is, we have something in Arabic, call it, it's ad'aful iman. That's the weakest form of faith, you know, that just talk against injustice. At least do that. We're not asking more than that, just talk, dare to talk, dare to say this person is not a terrorist. I don't think he's a terrorist. You're not carrying a gun, you're not going to participate, you're not sending money, you're just saying, well, you know, I think, you know, they might have a point defending their country. Dare that. You know, as a European citizen, we can do that. It's not something very courageous if we do it even. It's nothing compared to what people are showing as courage in Palestine today, or in Lebanon also, that's nothing. We're not showing much courage when we do that, so let's do that, you know? Okay, thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you.